Welcome to... On tonight's Clubhouse Live, it's not only a Legends edition, but a Victory Monday show. Finally. And who better to celebrate a big Packers win over Big D than a guy who knows what it takes to win the biggest game of all. Packers Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion Antonio Freeman is here. We'll reminisce with Freeman about his All-Pro and Pro Bowl career, and we'll get his thoughts on what's been going on in Titletown this season. Plus, we've got another six-pack of questions as part of tonight's Clubhouse Live Challenge. It's time to get started, so let's open the doors.
Good Monday evening, everybody. Yes, welcome back to, right over there, Antonio. Welcome back to the Clubhouse Kitchen and Bar. We're hanging out, as always, inside the Hilton Appleton Paper Valley Hotel. We are in downtown Appleton, Wisconsin. I'm Brett Christopherson with USA Today Network Wisconsin, also the Post-Crescent. What a great crowd here we have tonight. How's everybody doing on this Victory Monday? Yeah. Amazing what a win can do, right, to change everybody's outlook. Hey, before we get going, I want to give it up to tonight's door openers. They aren't kids in stature, but they're always kids at heart, right? How about a big Clubhouse Live round of applause for Bobby from Tennessee and Lisa from Appleton. There they are. They're having a good time. All right. Oh, boy, it's getting squirrely already here tonight, folks. I'm going to keep it on script as best as I can. Hey, how do you guys like Green Bay Packers 31, Dallas Cowboys 28? They did what? They did what? An appropriate question for tonight's show, as the Packers somehow, some way, rallied from a 14-point fourth-quarter deficit to turn back the Cowboys in an overtime thriller Sunday night at Lambeau Field. In doing so, Green Bay not only snapped a 5-game losing streak, but also ruined Mike McCarthy's much ballyhooed return to Titletown. Rookie wide receiver Christian Watson, how about him? He finally had his breakout game, as he finished with not one, not two, but 3 touchdown grabs, including 2 in the fourth quarter, on his way to a 4-reception, 107-yard night. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers, he looked like Aaron Rodgers again, didn't he? 224 yards, 3 TDs, 146.7 passer rating. Aaron Jones, a friend of the show, got the touches he needed, 138 yards and a score in leading a rushing attack that finished with 207 yards. And how about Rudy Ford? How about that guy? 2 critical interceptions that Rodgers and company were able to turn into a pair of touchdowns. The defense got a key stop in overtime. And the old veteran, right, Mason Crosby, he clinched the victory with a game-ending 28-yard field goal. I don't know, is the Pack back? What do you guys think? Are they back? Well, we're going to find out fast now that the Packers are pretending for Thursday night's game against the Tennessee Titans. Look who's back. It's Happy Vince. We haven't seen this guy in a long time. He's happy. He loves beating the Dallas Cowboys, and he loves it when it's a Legends edition of Clubhouse Live. And we've got a legend sitting right over there. It is Green Bay Packers wide receiver Antonio Freeman. He's back. We're going to get him over here in just a minute. It's going to be a fun show tonight. Can't wait to get Antonio here at the desk. But first, I want to say thanks to our 3 presenting sponsors. Cellcom, ringing the holiday season with Cellcom's 5 weeks of Black Friday deals going on now through November 20th. Save big on smartphones from top brands for only $5 a month. No trade-in, rate plan, or data bucket required. Visit cellcom.com/Black Friday sale for more details. Thank you to East Wisconsin Savings Bank. They help members build a wonderful life. Learn more about their services at eastwis.com. Last but not least, Munoz Family and Cosmetic Dentistry. They're sitting back over there. Your Center for Dental Excellence, voted Reader's Choice Best Dentist on this year's Best of the Bay. Let Dr. Sebastian and his team of professionals help you achieve your dream smile. We're all smiling for a lot of reasons tonight, but I might have the best news of all. Ricardo Arguello, Chicago Bears fan Ricardo Arguello, is not here tonight. He's not here. No Ricardo, which means no Bears talk, right? So you know that he can't show his face after that dismal 21-point collapse, allowing the Lions to score 21 points yesterday as the Bears lose 31 to 30. Hold on here. Hold on. I actually have a text message right now from Ricardo. He says, next season's prediction, Fields wins the MVP, Bears in the Super Bowl, bear down. That's what he says, everybody. That's what he says. Mean Gene doesn't like you, Ricardo. I know you're watching somewhere. So, everybody, this is an interactive show. As always, we invite comments through our live chat. We're not going to be able to ask the questions tonight, but you can chat with each other. It can be found online next to our video viewer. Also, Twitter users, hashtag is Clubhouse Live. Give us a tweet if you want. I'm on Twitter at PCBretzi. Ricardo's at Ricardo De Leon. Antonio is at AFreeman86. And give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/Clubhouse Live. So, we do have a Vikings fan sitting right over there, folks. And I told him that they are living a charmed life that soon will come to a beautiful blaze of fire, crash, burn, all that kind of stuff. You know that's going to happen. So I got the Vikings welcome mat, as always, and I want Antonio to stomp his feet all over the ugliest logo in all of sports to finally bring them some bad luck because they've been living way too, again, a charmed life. So let's get Antonio Freeman over here. Our guest tonight spent 8 of his 9 NFL seasons with the Green Bay Packers. He was selected by the Packers in the 3rd round of the 1995 NFL Draft. Led the NFL in receiving yards in 1998, 1,424. That was a season in which he also finished with 14 touchdown grabs, 84 receptions, and All-Pro and Pro Bowl honors. Remember that great season for number 86. Our guest tonight was on the receiving end of an electrifying 81-yard touchdown reception in Super Bowl 31. Remember that play? Then a record for the longest reception in Super Bowl history and a pass play that still ranks among the longest in Super Bowl annals. Our guest tonight had 6 seasons with the Packers in which he caught at least 50 passes. Ranks 8th in Packers history in career receptions with 431. Ranks 9th in Packers history in career TD receptions with 57. He's a Packers Hall of Famer, isn't he? He's a proud Hokie. He's a proud soccer dad. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. He had a bobble that was so improbable that it will forever be considered one of the most famous plays in Packers history. Remember that great play, Viking fan. And our guest tonight did what, right? He did what? How about a Clubhouse Live welcome for Green Bay Packers Hall of Famer? There he is, number 86, Antonio Freeman. Yes, there we go. There goes the Vikings. Good luck. Stomp your feet all over that. It is great to have Antonio Freeman back here. How you doing?
I'm great.
Yes.
I tell people all the time it's always great to come back here because when I get back home, nobody's going to be saying those stats and how great my career was. I'll have to more worry about what day is trash day.
You know what you should do is just clip that out and just kind of play it for everybody when you're back home. We'll send you a video clip of all your resume. So welcome back to the show. Last time you were here was 2017. Been 5 years. Our unofficial mascot, Mean Gene. Yeah, I don't know if you remember Mean Gene, but he remembers you. And you know what I found out? I couldn't believe this. Antonio Freeman turned 50 years old in May. Antonio, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
Father Time is undefeated.
Hey, I'm 50 years old, too. In July, I turned 50, so we're in the same club now.
I'm blessed.
Yeah, me too.
Following football, some guys don't make it to 50 or past 50, so I'm blessed with all the things that we put our bodies through and the head trauma that if I'm here at 50. So I'm very blessed.
Age is just a number, right?
Yes, sir.
It's all it is. It's just a number. So, the Packers, Antonio, they've been kind of looking at a veteran wide receiver. They need a little wide receiver help. Can Antonio Freeman go out there and give the Packers a series? Can you go out there and run a few routes, Antonio? Can you do it?
Well, they have this play called the bubble screen.
Yeah, right?
I can definitely do bubble screens and get us a few yards. That's like a running play. So,
all day long, right?
But just don't make me do any cuts where I have to drop my hips anymore because the hips are gone.
The hips aren't dropping anymore, are
No,
they?
they're not dropping.
We had Amon Green on the show earlier this season. Now, Amon says he can go out there and play a little football still, right? You buying what he's selling right there?
Have you seen him on?
He is. Yeah, he looks pretty.
He's put together pretty nice. That guy's. I always ask him, do you still work out? And he very candidly goes, yeah, just a little. Looks like he's in the gym a lot because he looks like he can still play.
He looks pretty good. Yeah, I guess he's got some confidence. Well, he didn't hit the big 50 yet, the big 5-0. So maybe his hips will have a hard time moving and shaking too when he hits that. So, what's Antonio Freeman up to these days? What are you busy doing? Where you living? Just kind of fill everybody in on what's going on with you.
I'm living in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I've retired at. I was doing some real estate rehabbing back in my hometown in Baltimore, Maryland. I was doing that for like 8 years. I'm an empty nester now. My kids are all gone, so I can really have fun and live a little now.
It's not too bad, is it? It's not bad. It's
not bad at all.
Yeah.
Just kind of staying out of the way and just trying to enjoy life, really. Get to spend a little more time with my family, travel a little more and see my mom and dad, and just do things that I really couldn't do when I played football.
Yeah, why not? To enjoy life. Well, speaking of family, your son Alex, I was noticing this. He's on the roster for the Orlando City. That's an MLS team, right? He's a soccer player. Look at that. He's another another Freeman that's a professional athlete here. What's going on with you can give that a round of applause. That's pretty cool. What's going on with that? And he's not playing the right football, Antonio. What's going on?
He's playing the right football for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very proud of him. Soccer's not my thing. I played it as a kid, but he graduated high school in May, and earlier that year in February, the Orlando City Lions offered him a professional contract. It wasn't an easy decision because it's rare. Mm-hmm. So you had everybody coming from the outside saying why he shouldn't. All the do's and don'ts. Luckily, I'm a former professional athlete, and his mom is pretty bright herself. So we sat him down and asked him, what do you want to do? What's your dream? What makes you happy? What makes you excited about waking up and you can't get there and do it? And as most 18-year-olds would say, it was play soccer.
Yeah, why not?
And the beauty of it is not only did Orlando City give him an opportunity to be a professional football player, they didn't neglect his schoolwork. So there's a clause in there where he can still go to school, and definitely we want him to get his degree. So it's kind of the best of both worlds at this point, and I'm just very happy for him. The one thing I always want for my kids is to be happy, and I was fortunate enough to be happy to go to work every single day and just be happy and love what you do.
So what's Antonio Freeman like in the stands, right? What is he? Is he crazy? Is he yelling? Is he screaming? Look at you laughing about it. And how difficult is that, right? When you're on the field, you control everything you can do, right? So you're in complete control, but you always hear it's worse for the parents versus the kid that's actually playing. So what do you like when you're watching your son play?
Well, my vision of it was a lot different. I didn't realize I would have so much anxiety around being around games and the parents and everything. So when he was a teenager playing, I was actually the parent standing by myself at one end of the goal, by the goal post, just waiting for the action to come. And then I would flip to the other side. It was just too much bickering amongst the parents. I mean, everything they want to foul. Oh, that's a foul, that's a foul. And I can't really put up with a lot of complaining. So I kind of sit off to myself. I had to learn the game. Yep. I had to understand the game. I knew nothing about offsides in soccer. But now I criticize. I made fun of my dad because he always wore my jersey everywhere we went, and I was like, Dad, please, I want to be normal. And now I'm that way with him. I've always got my 30 Freeman jersey on, and I realize it's just a matter of being proud.
Comes full circle, doesn't it? Now you know. Yeah. Now you know. Yeah. Well, before we look back on your playing days and all that good stuff, let's take a look a little bit about the season's Packers, right? The 2022 Packers. We want to talk a little bit, get your take on the wide receiver stuff. But Rosie, can you put up our Clubhouse Live GIF of the night? This is what we selected. Yes, this is what Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
He was angry. Yeah. He wasn't happy after. Yeah, there he goes again. There goes the headset. Maybe kick the field goal, Mike. I don't know. You wouldn't have been so upset. So he was ticked off after that play in overtime.
I would like to get the crumbled up pieces of that microphone and put it on Amazon to sell.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a hot seller right there, huh?
Yeah. That headset was not usable after his little temper tantrum. That you were kind of in a similar situation as a player, though, when Michael Holmgren came back to town, right, in 1999 with the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle ended up beating you guys that night. It was 27-7. It was November. But do you remember the hype and the emotions, how Brett Favre was feeling when his teacher, his mentor, came back to town? I remember some hype. I covered that game that night, and I remember it being a buzz around Lambeau Field.
It was electric. The one thing I do remember about that game is Mike Holmgren came back to win.
Oh, yeah.
And his game plan showed it. You said the score was 27-7.
Right, yeah.
I didn't realize they beat us that bad, but I knew they took care of us pretty solidly. And he came back prepared. I mean, there was a lot of emotion. A lot of guys had a lot of respect for Mike Holmgren. how he impacted my career personally. Brett's, I'm sure, the same. So we have relationships. You know, when you go to the NFC Championship 4 years in a row like we did and 2 championships, you build more than friendships. You build relationships. So it was hard. The rumor was swirling that he wasn't focused in Super Bowl 32 because he was taking the job. So a lot of guys were still bitter about that. But me, on the other hand, I was starting to understand the business part of the game. So I just know that Mike Holmgren did a lot for my career. He gave me the jump start that I needed. And, man, that was a crazy week because it was almost like we can't lose. We can do anything else, but losing this game is not acceptable. And Brett was emotional, and it's an emotional time. You know, he took our staff, some of the trainers and equipment guys that worked for us, he took over there. So it was kind of like a reunion, and you had to look at those guys and get excited about seeing them, and you'd be like, forget him now. You know, he's not my friend for 3 hours, so you kind of had to have those mixed emotions in check.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like that for Aaron Rodgers last night, and when he sees McCarthy, happy to see him, get a little hug in the pregame, but then you want to beat him up, right? Yeah. You want to win that game, and the Packers won that game, Mean Gene, yesterday. So 4-6, the Green Bay Packers are. What's your take? What's going on, Antonio, as you watch these guys? Obviously, the offenses had been kind of scuffling. Now they look pretty good last night, and they've been starting to move the ball a little bit more consistently. But what's your take on what's going on this season? Because that was not expected. This was expected to be a Super Bowl contender.
It's pretty much growing pains, really, when you think about it. This team is young offensively. Mm-hmm. The base of the success of the offense was supposed to be the offensive line. What I saw yesterday was what I thought the formula was at the beginning of the season. We're going to lessen Aaron Rodgers and the throws that he makes. We're going to use these 2 backs that we have, and we're going to take advantage of our offensive line. But when I watched, the offensive line hadn't been holding up their end of the bargain. You know, sometimes, a lot of times, in most cases, Rodgers is dropping back, and when the offensive line does hold up, the receivers are having time getting separation. You hear too much this year. What a great pass by Rodgers. Why does he have to make great passes? But slowly, and I told somebody this a while ago, I said, that kid, Christian Watson, he's made that catch 10,000 times. He'll make it again. And once they really learn how to get separation, it makes Aaron Rodgers' job so much easier. That's the frustrating part to him. Devontae Adams, Mark Valdez-Scantling, they knew how to give a nod at the top of the break just to get separation so he doesn't have to make such a perfect throw. But right now he's having to be flawless, but we need to get back to running the football. That's what the balance was yesterday. The defense has been playing well. We went down to to Detroit, played well enough to win in London. You know, so the offense has to get it going on, and I'm sure it's frustrating for Aaron Rodgers to be a top-tier quarterback, but at the bottom of the list as far as personal statistics and accolades go. But this team's got to continue running the football, and that be the base. And when you get down to the red zone, let them run the football. Put a fullback in. Back in the old days,
right.
Put William Henderson in there and plow through there with a running back. That way we don't throw interceptions in Detroit.
Old school football, yeah. Well, maybe we'll see a little bit of that. You could use DeGuara as a fullback spot and as a tight end. But, you know, Christian Watson obviously had the big game yesterday. We're talking in the back room. Maybe this is his breakout game. Maybe it really starts to click for him. But you remember in 1995, your rookie season, right? When did it click for you? Because it's an adjustment. It takes time. Very few guys can really step in and just excel as a rookie regardless of the position.
Guys, there's so much pressure as a veteran. So imagine a young 22-year-old rookie coming there with a 39-year-old quarterback. There's so much distance in that type of relationship. Like, what do we have in common? You're 39, I'm 22, except football. At least when I came in the game, we could go out to dinner. There was less of a age gap. But Aaron Rodgers wants to get home and do what he does. These young kids have a different agenda, so it's hard to make that mesh. And like when I played with Brett, he could look over at me often and maybe lift his foot, and we could change the play completely. That's what Aaron Rodgers is accustomed to. He doesn't have that leisure or luxury now to look out at Devontae or Randall Cobb and maybe just kick his foot in the dirt, and they know exactly to run a quick slant. So when you see those things available and you know you don't have the tools that are prepared It's about preparation, growing pains. And I was so happy for Christian Watson, man, just to have a bounce-back game, especially starting the game with those 2 drops, and just to have a phenomenal – those type of games change your career. It changes perception. And the perception of him wasn't very good at that point in time, and I was extremely happy for him as he scored 3 touchdowns. I felt like it was me because the hair stood up on my arms because I know what that young man and his family probably have had to listen to and hear for weeks and weeks, and to finally have your moment and you get to show people that I can do this. Now the thing becomes I have to do it consistently.
Right, build on it.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we're seeing it. We saw with Christian. We've seen Romeo Dobbs make some plays. Now Dobbs is out. We've seen Samari Toure with the touchdown. So I think maybe it's slowly but surely starting to happen. I'm curious about the trust of the quarterback, though, right? You always hear that Aaron Rodgers needs to trust his wide receivers. I never got the feeling that Brett Favre, he just was going to sling it all over the football field. There was no trust involved. You just go out and you catch it. But what do you think about that? What do you make of that as a former wide receiver, that this trust issue that you have to have with the quarterback? Sometimes you roll your eyes a little bit and think, oh, come on, just throw the football, or is there something really to this?
Trust is very important.
Okay.
Because first of all, it's timing. So I have to trust that you're going to be where you say. So when you tell your kids to be home at 3:30, you don't mean 3:31. But you don't know that at 22. Aaron knows it at 39. So these young receivers will have to learn, and this is a learning curve. We're so spoiled with our quarterbacks, so for 30-plus years, we've had Hall of Fame play at our quarterback position. You were able to plug any receiver you wanted for those 30 years, and you could put together a 1,000-yard receiver. But now the formula doesn't dictate that. The game doesn't dictate that. The game dictates we have 2 really good backs. Let's take advantage of that. And let's allow these young men to have moments, not have so much pressure on them to have to perform. But if we can run the ball effectively, now these guys don't have the pressure because you're already thinking a lot as a rookie. Now you're going to factor in these last few weeks, it's going to be cold. So now you're going to have multiple things running through your head when you still have to be trustworthy and on time. So when you walk that defender up and it's bump and run and not off coverage now, I have to trust that my receiver still knows that I've got 4 seconds to get this football off. So instead of going 12 yards, he's got to cut that route at 8 and maybe round it to 10 because I'm getting pressure from the blitzers. So it takes time. It's not automatic. But when you have veteran backs that can help out in the passing game, pick up that extra blitzer. Those are the things that's going to sustain drives for the Packers, and that's what their problem has been. 3rd down conversions, sustaining drives. When they get their real identity and understand that, it'll make it so much easier on everybody, including those young receivers, because the last thing you want them to feel is too much pressure. You just want them to be a part of the equation, not to feel like they have to get it done because they're too young to really understand that.
How about Antonio Freeman tonight? Good stuff here. I want to ask one more question, then we're going to kick it over to Bill, who's got our first audience question of the night. You've returned punts, too. Now, one of our co-hosts this year is Amari Rogers, also Devondre Campbell, but Amari obviously in the crosshairs right now because he's really struggling in that aspect of the game. Fumbled another one away yesterday. How much do you feel for him? You know how difficult that role is. Catching punts at the NFL level is hard. And is it just more of a mental thing right now, you think, for him?
It's definitely a mental thing, but it's like being in a classroom and your teacher telling you, go stand over there by yourself. I mean, you're 50 yards away from anybody on your team by yourself. There's so much you have to think about that runs through your mind. And really all you have to do is catch the football. But when you feel the pressure of other guys bearing down on you, they say look the ball all the way in. Yes, but if I feel that pressure, my eyes are going to come up. And that's how those fumbles and things happen. I struggled with that early on in my career. I was able to recover most of my muffs. But it's a very tough job. I had a guy like Robert Brooks there because he was a punt returner before me, so he showed me the ropes. I had to start to learn to judge the wind in Lambeau because the ball sails differently. I feel for him. It's a tough job back there. But to be honest, Mike Holmgren used to tell me, you've got one job to do. Field the punt. If you're scared you're going to drop it, fair catch it. That way you don't feel the pressure of the opposing team trying to bear down and get that killer shot on you. Use your fair catch. We just want to secure the ball and put the football back into our best player's hands, which is number 12.
Good stuff. Yeah, very good, Antonio Freeman. Excellent first segment. A lot of great stuff. Bill Gasheen, looks like you have a very familiar face for tonight's first audience question.
We do, known as a super fan, very well known as a super fan, but even more well known as the unofficial mascot here at Clubhouse Live. Our first audience question's from Mean Gene.
Okay, Antonio, thank you for all the fun you gave us all those years. And so the question is, do you have a certain NFL team that you enjoyed beating than any other, and why?
I want to thank you first, Mean Gene, for being a super fan. I mean, it's the fans that really make the players who we are. You know, to walk out that locker room and see somebody with your jersey on, with your name on the back of it, like, that's a humbling, amazing feeling. So I just want to thank all the fans, and particularly you, Mean Gene. You put a lot into this thing.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you for that.
I love kicking the Bears' butt.
There you go.
You know, yeah, the Bears still suck. I mean, being a neighboring team, you really feel the intensity once you get past Milwaukee into the Kenosha Racine area, and you really start to feel the divide. And that was always a great trip from us. I was telling this story earlier, and most of the guys that were sponsored by Nike, they had a Nike Town there, so we would spend most of our time getting dinner and going shopping at Nike Town. And Coach Holmgren would always say, "You're going to be so tired from walking around the mall all day. Get your butts in the room," and, on and on and on. But that was just a great trip. It was a quick trip for us. We knew we could get back and celebrate a win because we knew we were going to beat the Bears. And
they've been doing it ever since, haven't they?
Ever since. Aaron Rodgers has no problem with the Bears, and that's like, "I still own you." I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Ricardo's watching somewhere, and so is the Bear fan right over there. All right, so let's take a quick timeout. Time for tonight's stat pack. Did you see this stat from last night's game? Cowboys were 195-0 in their entire history, regular season and playoffs, when leading by 14 points through three quarters. The Packers' fourth quarter rally has now changed that record to 195-1, everybody. How about that? Also, the Packers, 30 points for the first time this season, and the 31 points they scored and the 415 yards they generated were the most surrendered by the Cowboys this season. So it was all working last night at Lambeau Field. All right, Antonio, we're going to be doing some trivia tonight, and the prize, of course, is nachos and beer here at the Clubhouse Kitchen and Bar. I will ask a question. The first person to raise his or her hand first that we notice will get called upon. If you happen to win, you are out for the remainder of the show. We want to kind of spread the wealth here a little bit and have as many winners as we can. So check this out. Trivia question number one, Antonio. Kind of scan the room to see who might raise their hand first. Christian Watson, right? We've been talking about him.
Yeah.
First Packers rookie wide receiver to finish with at least 3 touchdown catches and at least 100 receiving yards in a game since this Pro Football Hall of Fame wideout did it in 1978. Who are you looking at here? What
lady right here?
The lady right here?
Yes.
James Lofton is correct. Come on up. Antonio, call on you. You get the Clubhouse Kitchen and Bar nachos and beer. I'll let you give that to her. Yes.
Congratulations.
James Lofton. James Lofton did the same thing. Week 2 victory over New Orleans. 3 catches, all touchdowns, 107 yards, way back in 1978. Watson, by the way, did you see this? First rookie wide receiver with 3 touchdown catches against the Cowboys in a single game since Randy Moss back on Thanksgiving Day in 1998. That's according to ESPN Stats and Information. All right. Now we're going to talk about you and the 1996 Green Bay Packers, right? The Super Bowl champs. 26 years ago already? What the heck is going on here? You talk about father time. This is ridiculous. How can it be that long?
I pick the gray out of my hair every day. Father time is undefeated. I'm not going to the black dye. I'm just going to pick them out like I do.
You're going to lose that battle because they come fast and furious.
I mean, time flies. And the thing about a Dallas Cowboy game this past weekend is we had a lot of alumni back in town. So it was really good to see some former teammates, some guys I played with, some guys I watched playing. So it's always therapeutic for us to get back together, talk about the good old days, and just have some fun and smile a little bit. We're all weird in our own way as football players, so when we get together, we're like, there's no judgment, so we can go extra weird on people. So.
Extra weird. I'm sure that the plays, it got longer instead of a 10-yard play. Now it's up to a 50-yard play. It's like catching the fish, right? Just keeps growing. What made that team so special, right? I mean, you could just feel the build, right? It was just year after year. You get there in 95. You just can feel that you were on the cusp.
You talked about it earlier, trust. We trusted each other. We trusted that if we needed defense to get a 3 and out so we can get the ball back, they were going to do it. And we built that trust because we competed against each other in practice every day. People always ask me, who was the toughest defensive back that you've ever faced? And there's been some really good ones. Charles Woodson when he was at the Raiders, Sean Springs, just to name a few. But it was so competitive in practice because, believe it or not, Hall of Famer Leroy Butler would come to work early, like he was stealing the tests and stealing the answers. He would get the paperwork with all of the offensive plays. He would go in and tell the defense what those plays were. So when we tried to run those plays in practice, it was extremely difficult. So that made making adjustments on Sundays that much easier because I would have to be over there, and it would be a guy just sitting over there like, why is he sitting? That's not even the coverage that he's supposed to be in. But it was just so competitive that guys went through extra loops just to try to get advantage on each other because back then Coach Holmgren had competitive practices. And if it wasn't to his liking, you could be 2 hours into a 2-hour and 20-minute practice. He would start the whole thing over. So you'd be out there for 4 hours.
Can't do that now, can you?
Can't do that anymore.
That's not allowed. Neither are 2-a-days and
Nope.
a lot of padless practices now. Maybe you could play right now at age 50.
They got a spa day on Tuesdays.
They didn't have those in your day, did
No, where you just go and refresh.
they? Yeah.
Where was that?
Yeah. Holmgren wouldn't have allowed it. No.
Massages, footwork, like all of the things that we needed too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sherm Lewis, he wouldn't have allowed that. Fritz Shermer, could you imagine him while walking through there? Well, what do you recall, though, about the buzz, right, in 96 especially? Because you guys came in as a prohibitive favorite. You were in the NFC Championship 1995, beat the 49ers to get to the NFC title game, the defending Super Bowl champs. I think that raised everybody's eyes like, whoa, this team is really for real. Favre wins the first of 3 straight MVPs that year, 95. So you come in 96. And I remember it vividly. I mean, there was a buzz not only through the city, the region here in the Fox Valley, the entire state. But what do you recall as a player? It must have been just exciting every day, getting into work, right? Getting into game day, walking through the fans, getting into I entered your gymnasium or something back then, or the doors.
Gym. Yep.
It just had to be just a fun experience to live through.
Well, it was fun, but my rookie year wasn't fun. But that was the turning block, and that was the experience we needed to get us to the next level. I'm talking about 1995 when we went down to Dallas and nearly beat Dallas in the NFC Championship game, and we really walked away, and it was cliche, but we really walked away from that game and said, if we could do 10 plays over, we win that game and go to the Super Bowl. And guys in that locker room, I remember it, they challenged each other to work hard this offseason, work harder than before, because we're going to be back here next year, and it's going to be a different result. But we had veteran leaderships, guys who were thirsty and hungry for that Super Bowl trophy. You had Reggie White, Sean Jones. We acquired Eugene Robinson. Brett was in the league for a while. Ken Ruckers was a great offensive lineman for us. And guys wanted that ring. And guys must have put that work in throughout the summer because when we came back, it was like we picked up right where we left off. And we had fun. Of course, winning is fun, but when you're bonding in that locker room and you're doing great things, the relationship changes. It's a little bit different. It's more like brotherhood. And it was that game in Dallas that changed everything. We knew we would be back there, but we would be ready the next time. Fortunately, we went to 2 straight Super Bowls. We won't talk about the one that got away.
We're not going to talk about that tonight, Antonio. We're not going to talk about
but
that
it's
one.
reality. And we had a 4-year stretch
that
if T.O. doesn't make that catch on a Hail Mary pass, it's 4 years in a row that we're Super Bowl contending, and that's pretty rare in this league.
Tough to do now. You see it. When's the last time they've had a repeat
Great
champion?
coaching, too. I mean, Mike Holmgren had a great staff. They were fun, they motivated, and they had balance. And when you have balance, and it's not just in your face, rah, 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 you get great things. And just a great place that I walked into in 1995, a great group of guys and coaches to be around.
We look at 96 and the dominance of that squad. 456 points that led the league. 210 points allowed. That was the fewest allowed in the league. Of course, Desmond Howard and the special teams. He's a Super Bowl MVP. Favre, the second of 3 straight MVP awards, 39 touchdowns, 95.8 passer rating. One of the great Super Bowl teams, really, of all time when you're looking at ranking those teams. Hey, Rosie, put the picture, though, up of Antonio. Look at you go there. There he is, Super Bowl. 81 yards, a Super Bowl record at the time, right? Is that Lawyer Malloy right there?
Yes.
You're getting past you right there. Yeah. Look at you. I didn't think you weren't supposed to be a burner
there.
And you're
go.
just going right
there
down the sideline, huh? Oh, man, talk about that experience, right? Because all these kids growing up, right, they're playing football in the backyard. They're dreaming of scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. You got to do it. What was that experience like?
Well, I'll just touch on the fact that, I wasn't known as a speed guy, but they had me at a 4.7, and I never ran a 4.7. I was a 4.48. That was my clock time, but somehow it added numbers, and I became a 4.7. But it made me run routes better. See, I was a technician. I was going to make you move off of your spot. I was going to make you move your hips as a defensive guy. And it takes time to do that. But if you want to run in a straight line, that's easy to do. But to get a guy and manipulate a defender, that was my goal. To not only run my route, but have separation, give my quarterback a bigger target to throw at. And, man, I just remember being in the Super Bowl. It was a second-year guy. It was a lot of pressure on me. I had just became a starter, and, man, to catch that football and go 81 yards in the biggest game probably in Packer history for a long time, besides the Ice Bowls before that, in my life. I mean, it was just amazing, but it was just a total team effort. I was just one piece of the puzzle. You talked about those 3 categories. We were, I think, the only team ever to be number 1 in special teams, defense, and offense that same year. So,
dominant team.
Dominant team. You pick up the pieces that you're missing. You grab a Santana Dotson, plug him into that defensive line. You get a Eugene Robinson, put him back at free safety to assist Leroy. And then you bring in a guy like Desmond Howard, who allowed myself and Robert Brooks, who were the primary punt and kick returners, now to be focused primarily as receivers. So there were a lot of key additions that we also made throughout that offseason that helped catapult and difference makers for us.
Just an absolute great team, right? 1996 always will be remembered. One of the greatest in Packers history, without a doubt. Now, obviously, you end up scoring 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowls total, but I'm wondering, what was the best pass Favre ever made to you? Could have been just a regular season game. Was it the diving catch against the Bears at Soldier Field? I mean, that was a great one, but do you have something that you remember that was just like, wow, as you're catching it?
I was 25 years old in Super Bowl 31. Nobody really knew Antonio Freeman except you, unless you were in Wisconsin. We had just lost Robert Brooks, our starting receiver, to a torn ACL. Acquired a guy named Andre Rison who helped us get to the Super Bowl. To be 25 years old, counted out so many times in your life, and to get that opportunity in front of everybody. It's not a person that missed the Super Bowl, and to go 81 yards and to have a chance to say to your naysayers, nah, 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 nah.
There you go.
It was amazing.
Is that what you were saying as you were running into the end zone?
I was just thinking of my days living in Baltimore, Maryland, running through those backyards and back alleys. And I always say, I just felt like a stray dog was chasing me. And I was not going to let that stray dog grab my pants leg. So I was running as fast as I could on that play. And history, man.
Nice.
History.
One more question, and then we'll get to the social media question of the night now. 1996, who's left from that squad that needs to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right? Leroy Butler just got in, right? You got Favre is in, Reggie White is in. Are we talking Mike Holmgren, your head coach? He's got to be in, right? What do you guys think? Mike Holmgren's got to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Why is he not in already?
For the job that he did here, and then he turned that Seattle program totally around
took
when
them
he went
to the
up
Super
there.
Bowl.
Exactly. But But when you you don't win that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It takes a little longer. I remember talking to Leroy Butler when he was first nominated. The Super Bowl was in Miami. So I went to his hotel, and I was a part of the group that was in his room, and we were waiting for the indication whether he went in or not. And they came in and said no, but just sitting there. And I remember telling Leroy, like, you're in the conversation. It's only a matter of time before you crack through the cracks in the wall. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but I knew he would eventually get in because the numbers don't lie. And Coach Holmgren's had a lot of success. But when you don't win those 2 Super Bowls, that one in Seattle and that second one in Super Bowl 32, those are game changers.
Yeah.
Those are game changers. So I'm hoping that he gets in. He was a great coach. He meant a lot for me and my development. He forced me to be great in so many ways. And he forced a lot of people to be great because there was only one way to do things, and it was his way. And that's why when we left that game in 1995, we had a receiver on our team that did it his way. And he ran the wrong route that allowed Deion Sanders to get the interception. And that's why he was cut the very next year, and suddenly I was promoted to be a starter because he didn't do it Mike Holmgren's way. And that was the greatest thing. You hated it, but he got so many good results from it that you had to buy into it.
Absolutely. One other name I wanted to bring up, though, was how about Bob Harlan?
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, it really started with him bringing in Ron Wolf, who makes the trade for Favre, who hires Mike Holmgren, and then you're off and running. I think Bob Harlan sometimes kind of a forgotten figure in Packers history. That guy, I think, you get executives in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I think he should be up there as well. So Favre called Holmgren the best coach he's ever had. I'm guessing you're going to say the same thing.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
I mean, those were the best years of my career. He knew how to just think about it. You had Jackson, Chimura, Freeman, Brooks, Risen, Bennett, Levins. I'm missing some people. Don Beebe.
Terry Mickens was a
Terry Mickens. Yeah. He had weapons and egos. When you got that many weapons, you got as many egos. Holmgren knew how to manage all of that, the egos, the distribution of the football. And to me, that was his greatest strength. And when you look at it, he was in San Francisco. He had Jerry Rice, John Taylor, a slew of talent out there, and everybody was great. So he brought that same type of philosophy here, and everybody got a little taste of being great here. And that was one of the greatest things I liked about him is he knew how to game plan against opposing teams.
Very good. How about Antonio Freeman, the Legends Edition? Great show. I knew it was going to be that way. Let's do tonight's social media question of the day. Hey, we don't miss Ricardo, do we? I can handle this myself. We don't need you, Ricardo. Antonio, Ryan Lanning on Facebook wants to know, how does being a Super Bowl champion, how does that define you as a player, right? There's a certain status that comes with just being a Super Bowl champ. What has that meant to you?
Life-changing, because they can never take it away from you. It's like a birthmark. It's always going to be there. And, I mean, just to do it so young, I just thought it was normal. We were going to get 3 or 4 more, We were so good and so talented. I thought we had a bunch more coming. But, man, just being a Super Bowl champion, it's the true symbolism of the team. Because not only am I a Super Bowl champion, but those are athletic trainers, that equipment staff, right. Those guys who care for us and take care of us, the front office, the backups, the long snappers, the guys who really don't get a lot of credit. It doesn't matter. When we went to that hotel in New Orleans, it didn't matter whether you were a backup, you were a Green Bay Packer, and we were all champions. And that was the most amazing feeling.
Great answer. For having his question selected, Ryan wins a signed photo of Antonio Freeman. How about that? Each week we'll ask you to submit a question for our co-host or guest that we'll ask live during Monday's show. Look for it on Facebook.com/Clubhouse Live. Timeout number 2, trivia question number 2. Antonio, I need you to help me out again. See who's going to answer this one. Up next for the Packers, of course, Thursday night showdown against the Titans at Lambeau Field. What team were the Titans originally known as before relocating? I actually saw the guy at the bar there. Yep, you in the shirt back there, yellow shirt. Oilers is right. Come on up. Get your nachos and beer. The Houston Oilers.
He didn't say Houston, though.
Well,
he might not have said the Houston part.
You knew it was Houston Oilers, didn't you? Yeah, he knew it. He knew. I could tell. Yeah. The Houston Oilers. The Titans were first the Tennessee Oilers. before changing their team to the Titans in time for the 1999 season. Actually relocated to Tennessee all the way back in 1997. I miss the Houston Oilers name and their colors and their logos. Earl Campbell, right? The Tyler Rose, all that good stuff. That guy was great. So, hey, Rosie, we need some music. It's time for tonight's Clubhouse Live Challenge. Let's play it. Let's do it. All right, Antonio, we're going to put you on the spot. We're going to keep doing this trivia type stuff, question stuff. We're going to play a game that we call Six Pack. We like to play it when we have one person up here at the desk. This is a rapid fire game in which you have 60 seconds to correctly answer 6 questions about the 1996 Green Bay Packers. We were just talking about these guys, right? Hence Six Pack. Now, if you do so, you win the game and prizes for tonight's contestant, which is Amber Barenwald right over there next to Grizzly Dan. Wave your hand, Amber. That's her. This is what she could win tonight, Antonio. So it's like you're trying to catch that 81-yard touchdown pass. The pressure is on, right? We got a pack of Packers playing cards, courtesy of Shields. There's Aaron Rodgers on the front. Hey, a signed photo of the Packers Hall of Famer, Antonio Freeman. And this very cool Packers shirt, courtesy of the Clubhouse Kitchen and Bar. And Miller Lite. Easy, people. Take it easy. That's what she could win, Antonio. If you don't answer these questions in 60 seconds, Amber will have to do Ricardo's laundry for a full month. Yes.
I got you.
A full month, Ricardo. I know you're watching because you got a lot of dirty clothes after your trip to Las Vegas. So I need somebody to keep track of 60 seconds. Bill, you got it? Bill Glasheen has got it. 60 seconds. Bill, do not start the clock until I ask the first question in its entirety, okay? That's the rule. So how you feeling, Antonio Freeman?
Nervous.
You nervous?
Just like pregame.
Just like, well, I think you're going to get these. I think you have a good shot. So what do you guys think? Can Antonio do this tonight? 6 questions, 60 seconds. Question number 1. Mike Holmgren was once part of a band called Big Bop and the what?
Big Bop and the Whalers.
That's good, close enough. It was the Choppers. How many regular season games did the Packers win that season?
13.
Yes. What 3 teams did you play and beat in the postseason?
Carolina, San Francisco, Atlanta.
And in the Super Bowl.
Oh, New England Patriots.
This fellow wide receiver had 11 catches, 220 yards, and a TD in your Monday night victory.
Don Beebe.
Yes. This popular restaurant across the street from Lambeau was the backdrop of a Sports Illustrated cover that featured Holmgren and Brett Favre. It's right across the street from
Crows.
Yes, last one. Who scored the final and game-clinching touchdown in your Super Bowl victory over New England?
Brett Favre.
Try again.
No.
Yes,
Desmond.
might be.
Wasn't Desmond.
It was Desmond.
The last?
It was the last one. He got it, everybody. How much time? Desmond Howard, the 99-yard kickoff return. You got the 2-point conversion, and that was 35-21 victory.
That was Brett with it was the 2-point conversion.
Yes.
Got
now
it
you knew that, though. You knew that, Antonio Freeman. How about a round of applause? Antonio got it right tonight. Rosie, we need some championship music. Because, Amber, you're going home with the playing cards. You got the signed photo, and you've got the T-shirt. I don't want to hear any comments about it. All right. Another round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Big Bop and the Choppers was Mike Holmgren's band. I thought everybody kind of knew that. Wasn't that like a little prank?
I heard somebody over there say Whalers, so I
well, he sort of looked like a whale. I mean, he was kind of a big guy.
I was going to say Poppers because it was something, because they used to say it. Frank Winters used to say.
Yeah, won't you like get him mad in like meetings or something when he get ticked off? I had heard one story one time where like a clip of him played, like somebody pranked him, and I heard that Holmgren like stormed off angry or something. Did that ever happen?
Yes.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, he couldn't take a joke at all. But when you're the coach, you got to separate yourself from that. But he definitely couldn't take a joke.
Big
but he
Bop.
was a great guy. Big Bop.
Big Bop and the Choppers, his high school band. So there we go. Hey, Bill, back to you. You got another audience question.
We do, and about to fill up her 10th punch on her question of the night punch card.
Right.
From Appleton, it's Tracy Santos.
Hi, Antonio.
Hello.
There have been a lot of circus catches since you did what? Should defenders be focused more on knocking the ball down rather than trying to get an interception on those jump balls?
Wow.
Great question, especially
Great-
after the
great question,
Bills-Vikings game yesterday, right? When Justin Jefferson with that crazy catch. Maybe should have just knocked it down.
Well, to be honest with you guys, locker room talk, interceptions get you to the Pro Bowl. Batted balls don't. So I know it's a team game, but we all have our selfish moments and our selfish goals. So those guys want interceptions so they can have a large tally and make the Pro Bowl. And ultimately, that's going to demand more money on your next contract. So unfortunately, we had a guy on our team that they would throw the Hail Mary, and he would always intercept it when the coach definitely tells you to knock the ball down. He would make the Pro Bowl every year because his interception total would be so high.
Right. Hey, why not? Right. Well, thank you, Tracy, for the question. Interceptions, more money than pass breakups, right?
Yeah.
All right, Antonio. When I say he did what, you say what?
What?
What? Rosie, put the photos on the screen, would you please? There it is, the Improbable Bobble. There's photo number 1. By the way, you see that guy in the far left there? That was me standing there on the sideline. Yep. And there is there I am right there on the far left there, a young Brett Christopherson there in the rain on the sidelines. We're linked together, Antonio.
Hey.
We're linked together. And there you are scoring the game-winning touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings. The Improbable Bobble. He did what? That was back in 2000, Monday night, 2000, rainy day, 43-yard touchdown reception in overtime. Packers win 26-20. Man, how often does that play come up for you when you're out and about? Probably every single time, huh?
It's like the only catch I made. I tell people,
And
like,
you had a lot of great
you don't
moments.
remember anything else about my career except that, but it's a moment. And when I do speeches, I talk a lot about moments, having that moment. If you can create that moment, it can last a complete lifetime. And in watching that photo, I saw Bubba Franks. I was hanging out with Bubba Franks this past weekend. He came up for the game. So when you make a play like that, it's all about you, but it's all about all those other 10 guys out there to help make the play go. And I just remember my high school coach told me, never stop until you hear the whistle. He stopped playing, so I don't know who his high school coach was, but I think mine's
Is that
got the message.
Dishman, I think, for the
Chris
Vikings?
Dishman,
Yeah. How did you know, though? Did you know that it didn't hit the ground?
That first photo, you see the football hit my shoulder. We've got peripheral vision. I saw something dark still coming down on a downward spiral, and I was able to just catch my hands under it. I didn't even grab it. I just put my hands under it, and it fell. You know, like that drink that was falling off the table, and I caught it before it hit the ground. And
There it is right there again, yeah.
See, it hit me right on that. It would hit me on enough of the side. You see, it got a little bit of skin. It didn't just hit the shoulder pad. So that nerve reaction to the brain.
Yep.
And I just twerked my body to the side, and history was made. I was just trying to help my team win a football game. It was cold and rainy that night. We was trying to get off that football field too. So there was a lot of things I was trying to do, but not make history. So when you're trying to do the right things, I always say, man, you just never know what the outcome of it can be.
But you know, the cool thing, Antonio, is you made a lot of great plays, right? You're a Packers Hall of Famer. You got the Super Bowl championship. But man, that is that is forever one of the most famous plays in Green Bay Packers history, which is saying something for how long that team's been around, how successful that team has been. That's just got to be a great feeling, right? To know that you're the author of one of those great plays, that you're always going to be remembered for that.
It's awesome. I mean, it really is amazing. Because when you leave football, you leave it. It's like a divorce. Like you never look back. They never look back for you. So when you have those moments and you can come back and embrace those moments and share it and kind of relive some of the great times, you know, because those are great times for us as teammates and as players. So anytime I'm able to come back and relive those greatness and those great moments, it's an amazing feeling, man, to just know that I did it, you know, because you're not appointed a football player out of the womb. You have to develop and work, and people don't realize how much work actually goes into the day of a professional athlete just to try to, first of all, stay healthy so you don't lose your job and get cut. So I'm humble, man, and I'm blessed in a lot of ways, and I'm just thankful.
Got the football? You kept that football, I would hope?
Yeah, I have it.
How about
I have
that?
all 61 of mine.
I was going to say that. Why not? Right. I was going to say that 81-yarder in the Super Bowl too. You must have that in your man cave as well.
That's right next to my 76-yard punt return my rookie year
against the
which was
Falcons.
my first time, yeah. So
yeah.
it was
Absolutely.
another moment. You know, those are just moments. Like,
Last thing, I noticed. I think we talked about this when you were here in 2017. I was going to say 1997. We weren't doing Clubhouse Live back then, folks. you don't have your Super Bowl ring on. And that is because your fingers have been busted up so much because of number 4 that you can't wear the darn ring anymore. Is that true? Take us through that. Is that the real deal? That
There's a knuckle here. See, here's the thing. I won my Super Bowl my second year. So my first year I was a punt and kick returner. So Brett didn't beat my hands up a bunch. The next year I was a starter, but I broke my arm.
right?
So I missed 5 weeks. So Brett didn't beat my hands up a lot. We got our Super Bowl ring in year 2. By year 5, when I was a full-time starter, all of my fingers were broke. He's 70%. He broke 7 out of 10 fingers.
Wow.
I would go home every off season, and I would try to swim and get in the pool and get in the ocean, and I would have finger splints on my hand that would always come off because the pressure of the water would just take it off. And I would be calling our trainer, Pepper Barrett, saying, I need you to send me more splints.
Yeah. You be careful. You're going to end up looking like Larry McCarron's hand one of these times. So you want that happening.
Well,
now.
he didn't wear his splints. That's why it looks like
Yeah,
that.
that
I
thing,
wore
hey.
my splints.
Good man. Hey, how about a round of applause for Antonio Freeman tonight? All right. We are going to go up north as we wrap up tonight's show. By the way, folks, stick around after the show. Don't get up and do anything. We've got some signed items to give away, golf simulator coupon and all that good stuff. We're going to celebrate that victory Monday a little bit longer. But we're going to go up north. This is where Ricardo and I normally predict Thursday's Packers-Titans game at Lambeau Field. Ricardo obviously not there tonight. Hold on. He's texting me again. He is saying... I just got another text for the Up North segment from Ricardo. He's watching. He says, Titans win, book it. That's what he's saying, everybody. That's what he's saying. Well, you know what? It's my turn. Look what I'm bringing back because the first time I wore it last week, it brought him good luck. So it's going on the head again, Mean Gene. The celebratory cheesehead, we're calling it. I got some tweets yesterday right after the Packers won. They're crediting the cheesehead.
Yeah.
I had the victory visor. That ran out of magic. The rally cap wasn't helping, so I went to the cheesehead. It seemed to work, so we're going to try it again. How about it's going to be a good one, close one. Packers 20, Tennessee 17. I think Christian Watson, now he knows what success feels like. He's going to kind of carry that over. I agree with you. Run the ball, right? You got
Right.
2 great backs. That's going to kind of open things up. Maybe defenses are going to have to play a little bit more up. Maybe it's not going to be that 2 high stuff anymore. Maybe it's a little bit more 1 high, and then now you get some things going, those deep crossers or whatever that can play action, all that good stuff that the LaFleur offense is known for.
I think this week is about the defense. They have a guy named
Yes.
Derrick Henry.
Yes.
He's going to get the ball 35 times.
Yeah.
He's a load.
Yep.
And they're hoping that guys don't want to tackle him in the 25-degree weather at 8 o'clock at night, and he'll just bounce off a defender. So this one's on the defense. They're going to have to come to play. We won against Dallas, but we really didn't stop the run the way we wanted to. They're going to have to stop Derrick Henry, or they're going to hand him that football every single down because he's built for those type of cold, wintry, physical football games. So this week will be about how physical that defense can be.
Absolutely, yeah. Ryan Tannehill is back too, so they'll make some plays. But I think they're a little bit more they can be mistake prone as well, and I think that defense will get a couple turnovers as well. I think they're going to be okay with Derrick Henry. It might be a little bit too cold for him. I mean, we're talking maybe single-digit wind chills. So anybody who go into Lambeau Field Thursday night, Mean Gene, bundle up, Tracy Santos. So I think now they have a new streak. It's going to be a winning streak after Thursday night's game. What do you guys think, huh? 20-17. By the way, the Titans in first place, but they've actually been outscored by 2 points this season, despite being 6-3. They've beaten the Raiders, the Colts twice, the Commanders, the Texans, and the Broncos. Largest margin of victory is 9 points, so that's
not impressive.
Not impressive at all, and it's
No.
it's a weak division. So
Yes.
I think it's there for the taking for sure for the Packers. And the Titans banged up defensively too, missed a whole bunch of starters in yesterday's game against the Broncos. So hey, I want to talk quickly about the Packers News app, guys, with exclusive commentary, insider analysis, award-winning photos and videos from USA Today Network. Wisconsin's Packers coverage team. The Packers News app is your one-stop shop for complete coverage of the Green Bay Packers. Unlimited digital access to the Packers News app and PackersNews.com can be yours for as low as 99 cents for the first month. Please subscribe today. Antonio, I got to thank our 3 presenting sponsors again, Cellcom, East Wisconsin Savings Bank, and Munoz Family and Cosmetic Dentistry. By the way, again, don't forget about Cellcom's 5 weeks of Black Friday deals going on right now. Buy one, get one free on all smartwatches, tablets, and connected cameras. Mix and match to get something for everyone on your list. Restrictions apply. Visit cellcom.com/Black Friday sale for more details. Also want to thank our supporting sponsors. We have Shields Escort Limousine Service, Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear, Mayfield Sports Marketing. Thank you to Mark Mayfield for getting Antonio here tonight. Mike Thiel and Eric Lips here, and as always, the good folks here at the Hilton Appleton Paper Valley Hotel. Next week, Amari Rogers is back, assuming co-hosting duties. 2 weeks from now is Devondre Campbell, and we'll kind of get back on that routine with our two co-hosts. But in the meantime, Antonio, you have the final word tonight.
It's going to be a long season. Be patient. We got the right pieces. Chemistry sometimes takes a long time. And don't forget, we are spoiled as Packer fans. Like, really, this is a totally different feeling that we felt in a long time. So we have to look at ourselves and look at ourselves as spoiled brats too. Maybe we expect a little too much, but just be patient, guys. Just be patient. It's sports. Nobody goes out on that field and says, yeah, we're going to get beat by 30. So there are other teams that work just as hard. So be patient with these guys. We're putting the pieces together.
Yeah, keep those claps coming, everybody, for Antonio Freeman, for Ricardo, wherever he is, and for the rest of the Clubhouse Live crew. I'm Brett Christopherson signing off. Be back here next Monday night, 6:30 is the start time, as we celebrate another big Packers victory, this time over the Tennessee Titans. In the meantime, Mean Gene, it's your turn. Take it away.